If you've been scrolling through social media lately and your heart stopped when you saw headlines screaming that green card holders could be deported in 2026, I want you to take a deep breath. I know how terrifying it feels when you see alarming news about your immigration status, especially when you've worked so hard to build your life in the United States. You're not alone in feeling confused and scared right now. Today, we're going to sit down together and carefully separate the facts from the fear, the reality from the rumors, and I promise you, by the end of this video, you'll have a clear understanding of what's actually happening, what's just speculation, and most importantly, what you need to know to protect yourself and your family. Let me start by addressing the elephant in the room. The idea that green card holders, also known as lawful permanent residents, will suddenly face mass deportation in 2026 is not an accurate representation of current United States immigration law. This kind of alarming headline has been circulating on social media platforms, in group chats, and across various online forums, and I understand why it's causing so much anxiety. But here's what you need to understand about how immigration law actually works in the United States. Immigration laws in America do not change overnight. Any significant change to immigration policy requires a complex legislative process. For a new law to take effect, it must be proposed as a bill, debated in Congress, passed by both the House of Representatives and the Senate, and then signed by the President. Even after all of that, implementation takes time, and courts can challenge laws they believe are unconstitutional. This is an important point because many of the scary headlines you're seeing are based on proposals, discussions, political rhetoric, or draft legislation that has not gone through this entire process. Now, let's talk about what a green card actually means. When you receive lawful permanent resident status in the United States, you are granted the right to live and work in America indefinitely. This is a protected legal status. You are not a temporary visitor. You are not on a visa that expires after a few years. You have permanent residence. The term permanent is meaningful here. It means that under normal circumstances, you have the right to remain in the United States for the rest of your life, as long as you maintain your status and follow the law. However, and this is crucial to understand, lawful permanent residents can lose their status under certain specific circumstances that have existed in immigration law for many years. These are not new rules for 2026. These are long-standing provisions that have been part of United States immigration law for decades. Let me explain what these circumstances are so you have accurate information. First, green card holders can face removal proceedings if they commit certain serious crimes. These include what immigration law calls aggravated felonies, which can include murder, rape, drug trafficking, and other serious violent crimes. They also include crimes involving moral turpitude, which is a legal term for crimes that involve dishonesty or immoral conduct. Multiple criminal convictions, even for less serious offenses, can also put your green card at risk. This has always been the case. If you are a lawful permanent resident, maintaining a clean criminal record is essential to protecting your status. Second, green card holders can lose their status if they abandon their residence in the United States. What does this mean? If you leave the United States and stay outside the country for an extended period without obtaining a re-entry permit, immigration authorities may determine that you have abandoned your permanent residence. Generally, if you stay outside the United States for more than 1 year without permission, you may face questions when you try to return. If you stay away for shorter periods but show a pattern of spending most of your time outside America, you could also face issues. The key principle here is that permanent residence means you intend to make the United States your home. If your actions suggest otherwise, you may lose that status. Third, and this is important, green card holders can face problems if they engaged in fraud when they applied for their green card. If immigration authorities discover that you lied on your application, submitted false documents, or entered into a fraudulent marriage to obtain your green card, they can initiate removal proceedings. This applies to fraud committed at any time, even years after you received your green card. Fourth, certain national security violations or involvement in terrorist activities can result in deportation. If a green card holder is found to be involved in espionage, terrorism, or activities that threaten United States national security, they can be removed from the country. Now, here's what you need to understand clearly. None of these grounds for removal are new. These have been part of United States immigration law for many years, some for decades. There is no special new rule that suddenly puts all green card holders at risk of deportation in 2026. What may be changing is the level of enforcement, the resources dedicated to immigration enforcement, or the priorities of immigration authorities under different administrations. But the actual legal grounds for removal have not fundamentally changed. So where do these alarming headlines come from? Often, they stem from political discussions, proposed legislation that hasn't passed, statements made by politicians or political candidates, or interpretations of policy changes that may affect how existing laws are enforced. For example, an administration might announce that it will prioritize the removal of individuals with certain types of criminal convictions, or that it will increase resources for immigration enforcement. These policy shifts can create uncertainty and fear, and sometimes that fear gets amplified and distorted as information spreads online. It's also important to understand that during election cycles, immigration becomes a highly politicized topic. Candidates and politicians may make bold statements about what they plan to do regarding immigration if elected or if they gain more power. These statements are not laws, they are proposals, promises, or political positioning. Until something goes through the proper legislative process and becomes actual law, it remains speculation. Let me give you some practical guidance on how to protect yourself if you are a lawful permanent resident. First, and most importantly, obey all laws. Do not commit crimes. Even misdemeanors that might seem minor can potentially affect your immigration status, especially if you accumulate multiple convictions. Stay out of trouble with the law, period. Second, if you travel outside the United States, plan carefully. If you know you'll be outside the country for more than 1 year, apply for a re-entry permit before you leave. This permit allows you to stay outside the United States for up to 2 years without abandoning your status. If you're taking shorter trips but traveling frequently or spending significant time outside America, keep detailed records of your trips and maintain strong ties to the United States, such as property ownership, employment, bank accounts, and family connections. Third, keep your green card valid and up to date. Your green card must be renewed every 10 years. Make sure you file your renewal application on time. An expired green card doesn't mean you've lost your permanent resident status, but it can create problems with employment verification, travel, and other situations where you need to prove your status. Fourth, and this is something many people don't realize, consider applying for United States citizenship if you are eligible. Becoming a naturalized United States citizen provides the strongest possible protection. Citizens cannot be deported except in extremely rare cases involving fraud in the naturalization process itself. If you have been a permanent resident for at least 5 years, or 3 years if you're married to a United States citizen, you may be eligible to apply for citizenship. Citizenship also gives you the right to vote, eliminates the need to renew your green card, makes it easier to petition for family members, and provides complete security knowing that your status cannot be taken away. Now, I want to address some common misconceptions that I see spreading online. Some people believe that simply being a green card holder from certain countries puts them at risk of deportation. This is not true under current law. Your country of origin does not by itself make you deportable if you are a lawful permanent resident. What matters is your conduct and whether you maintain your permanent residence. Another misconception is that receiving public benefits can lead to deportation for green card holders. While it's true that receiving certain public benefits can affect future immigration applications for your family members, or could have been a factor in inadmissibility before you became a permanent resident, Simply receiving public benefits as a green card holder does not automatically make you deportable under current law. However, immigration law is complex in this area, so if you have questions about public benefits, consult with a qualified immigration attorney. Some people also worry that political speech or activism could put their green card at risk. In general, lawful permanent residents have First Amendment protections for free speech, just like citizens. You can criticize the government, participate in peaceful protests, and express your political views. However, permanent residents cannot vote in federal elections, and involvement in certain organizations, particularly those designated as terrorist organizations, can have immigration consequences. If you are feeling anxious about your status right now, here's what I recommend you do. First, visit official government websites for accurate information. The United States Citizenship and Immigration Services website, which is USCIS.gov, provides reliable, up-to-date information about immigration laws, policies, and procedures. The Department of State website also has valuable information, especially regarding travel. Don't rely on social media posts, group chat rumors, or unofficial websites for important immigration information. Second, if you have any concerns about your specific situation, consult with a licensed immigration attorney. Immigration law is complex, and every person's situation is unique. An attorney can review your particular circumstances, explain how the law applies to you, and advise you on the best course of action. Be very careful about who you trust with your immigration case. Unfortunately, there are people who prey on immigrants' fears and offer fraudulent services. Make sure you work only with licensed attorneys or accredited representatives recognized by the Department of Justice. Third, organize your documents. Make sure you have copies of all your immigration documents, including your green card, entry stamps in your passport, travel records, and any correspondence you've received from immigration authorities. If you ever need to prove your status or your history in the United States, having organized records will be invaluable. Fourth, stay informed, but be discerning about your sources. Follow official government accounts and reputable news organizations that fact-check their reporting. Be skeptical of viral social media posts, especially those that use alarming language, make predictions without citing specific laws or official sources, or seem designed to provoke fear rather than provide information. I also want to emphasize something that applies to everyone watching this video, whether you're a green card holder, someone on a work visa, a student, or supporting a family member who is an immigrant. Immigration systems in countries around the world are complex, and they do change over time. Laws can be amended, policies can shift, and enforcement priorities can change with different administrations. This reality can feel unsettling, especially when your entire life, your family's security, and your future depend on maintaining your legal status. But here's what I want you to remember. Hundreds of thousands of people successfully maintain their permanent resident status every single year. They follow the rules, they live their lives, they work, they raise their families, and they eventually become citizens if they choose to. The vast majority of green card holders who follow the law and maintain their residence have absolutely nothing to fear. Do not let fear paralyze you or prevent you from living your life. At the same time, don't be complacent. Take your permanent resident status seriously. Understand your responsibilities. If you're eligible for citizenship, seriously consider applying. Citizenship provides peace of mind that no policy change or shift in enforcement priorities can take away. For those of you who are not yet permanent residents but are working toward that goal, continue on your path. Don't let alarming headlines discourage you from pursuing your dreams of building a life in the United States. The immigration system, despite its challenges and complexities, continues to provide pathways for people to achieve permanent residence and citizenship. Before we wrap up, I want to share one more important reminder. The information I've provided in this video is general educational information about United States immigration law. It is not personalized legal advice for your specific situation. Immigration law can be complicated, and individual circumstances vary widely. If you have specific questions or concerns about your immigration status, please consult with a qualified immigration attorney who can review your particular case and provide guidance tailored to your situation. Remember, you are not alone in this journey. Millions of immigrants and their families navigate these same questions and concerns. There are resources available to help you, from legal aid organizations to community groups to government agencies. Reach out, ask questions, and don't suffer in silence if you're worried. If you found this video helpful in understanding what's really happening with green card holder deportation concerns in 2026, I'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe to Immigration News today. We're committed to bringing you accurate, fact-based immigration information that cuts through the noise and gives you what you actually need to know. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an update, especially when there are real changes to immigration policy that affect you and your family. Give this video a thumbs up if it helped calm your fears or clarify the facts, and please share it with friends, family members, or anyone in your community who might be worried about these issues. Knowledge is power, and when we share accurate information, we help protect each other from fear and misinformation. Drop a comment below if you have questions, if there are specific immigration topics you'd like us to cover, or if you want to share your own experience. I read the comments, and your input helps me create content that truly serves this community. Thank you so much for watching. Stay informed, stay calm, and remember that understanding your rights and responsibilities is the best protection you have.